because we were getting ready. We had very little time in the World Cup. We played 11 matches in 15 days. Had very little time to get ready for China, so we just threw some clips together. And of course, I thought we did a really nice job in this match of handling their off-speed. What we had a little more trouble with was when they stopped hitting off-speed. So that was a whole lot of hard hits and not a lot of defense. So this is their other attacker, who's even more effective, number 4 for China. And you had a hard hit there, and we get to see what an off-speed, what a roll shot looks like, and again, then the test comes. So here's the first one. Yep, you got it, good read. This is the same without the freeze, and so forth. So that's what that would look like, is stringing together some clips for our athletes and showing them what the difference between baseline and hinky is. And that's critical for athletes on defense to know. And maybe it's a little different for different hitters, but still, baseline is pretty similar from hitter to hitter. Hinky, not so much, but they're all different than baseline. So then the next thing is we do a ton of small group games in our gym. We do a lot of 3-on-3 and a lot of 4-on-4 volleyball. And the reason we do that is because we want our athletes to see real-time swings and real-time shots and tips. And so we set up all kinds of, mostly 4-on-4. Maybe it's a setter in the front court and 3 in the back court. We're playing behind the 10-foot line. You can do it 3-on-3 too. And we have what we call the OSK bonus, off-speed kill bonus. So if we're playing a game and we have a little tournament and we're playing 3-4 minute rounds, if you get a kill the normal way, that's a point. If you hit it off-speed, and generally if we're playing 3-on-3, you have to hit this off-speed shot beyond the opposing 10-foot line. But if I then hit a roll shot and get it to the other team's floor, or if I hit a tip and I get it to the other team's floor, I get 2 points, not 1. So we could be down 4-0 with a minute to go. If I get a couple of tips down, we are right back in the game. It's still taken a while to know, even in our gym, to know, wow, let's see, they get 2 for a tip and 1 for a hard hit. I think I might want to defend the one that's going to score more points against me. So we've gotten a lot better at that, especially in this last year, at reading. So now hitters are mixing in tips and rolls because they get rewarded for it. Once you play 4-on-4, 1 at the net, who can choose to block? They rotate through. Everybody plays everything, so they all have to read, and they all have to play right back, and they all have to play middle, and they all have to play left. But if they're in the front court, they could just drop off and cover a lot of the short area. Once there's 4-on-4, 3 in the back, 1 in the front, still hitting back row, no dumps allowed. Once it's 4-on-4, you can tip anywhere. You can roll anywhere inside the 10-foot line. So now they have to figure out how to guard for the sharp cut shot or the tip down the line, that kind of stuff. As more and more of that happens, they get better and better at seeing baseline versus hinky. And it's getting harder and harder in our gym to put down the roll shot and put down the tip. And that's a good thing. That's serving us well on defense. And then the last strategy is what Nev, I think, used to call, or Nev and Doug Beal used to call the flinch drill, and that was we just have a line of hitters hit and go, or hitting a 5 or a red behind the setter, and a line digger, and we are just teeing off. Full speed ahead. And so what you do is you're hitting at a line digger who has to muscle up, I shall say, and be able to get some surface on it and play it up, and then hitters are mixing in a tip and a roll shot. So I have to be in a position to see the right things, to not look at the game through paper towel inner tubes, and to get the cues to be able to be dug in for the hard shot, but also get the cues a few tenths of a second earlier so that I know I can go get the tip. And in fact, one example of this that we had was we had some middles working in our gym, and they were playing defense as they do in our system in left back when they serve and come to the net. Of course, all of our middles in USA volleyball internationally have to serve and play defense through their serving turn. So we have them playing at left back. And it just so happened, I don't know, I guess several tips fell over the middle blocker, and a couple fell way over into area 4 when the wing blocker was helping out. Tips from a front quick, an opposing front quick. So we took a few middles over to the side, and that's when I really got the sense that people were watching the game through these long tubes instead of seeing the whole rally. So I just said, all right, middles, here you got a setter, we're gonna run some quicks, and one of you go stand over there and play left back. And here's what's gonna happen. Either the middle's gonna hit it at you about 50%, or she's gonna tip into the middle of the court like a middle who's hitting a quick would tip over the opposing middle blocker. Or she's gonna tip far into area 4 like she would if there was wing help. And your only job is to watch the hitter. Do not even watch the ball. So the middle hitter goes, she hits a front one, and the very first one, the middle hitter tips the ball to the middle of the court, and the focus of the drill was on the middle hitter who was playing defense across the net, and she stepped in like it was no big deal and just made it easy up. Didn't even have to hit the floor for it. She said, oh my God, I've never looked at the hitter before. It was one of those aha moments, but for her and for me. Whoa, that's an awesome concept. So again, we're trying to help people get the cues. If I'm only looking at the ball, I miss so much valuable information. But we're getting better, slowly but surely. As I said, this is a work in progress. These are the strategies we've come up with so far. I'm sure you've come up with some great ones, and hopefully we'll get to hear about it. But the, let's see here, where else are What we're trying to do, again, to summarize, is maximize the opportunities for our defenders, in this case against opposing attackers, to see in real time. And we talked about demonstrating with keywords and questions. We had our time slices, we had our slow-mo video, we had some freeze frame, or some the video where it goes black and asks what's happening next, small group games, and the flinch drill. And those are some of the, or most of the strategies that we are using in our gym to try to help our athletes read the game better. The next thing we got to come up with is stuff for our blockers. They have less time to react to the cues, angle, seam, or line. But that's certainly on the table. I don't know how much we're going to get to with the crunch and 7 months heading into the London Olympics, which we are very thankful to have the luxury of already been qualified for now, one of the 3 teams from the World Cup plus the host. So 4 teams know they're going, the rest don't, but hopefully we'll get a little time before we get our athletes back in this country. They're all playing overseas to develop some strategies for our blockers too, but those are many of the strategies that we're using to slowly but surely over time accelerate that learning process and giving them more opportunities in fewer minutes, or in more opportunities per minute to read. I think we have a little bit of time for questions. So any out there? I see a hand raised. We have the same what we call occlusion software for our middles, where we freeze. Some of the ones that that are dead giveaways are back arch in the setter, are dropped hands in front. Generally, dropped hands tell me that she cannot back set from that position. In fact, certain setters that we study, dropped hands means that it's going to be, we call it a gap, you might call it a shoot set, a 3 set, something quick but 10 feet away from the setter-ish. And so the dropped hands for some setters might mean the shoot set. Dropped hands for others might mean a go or a shoot set. So the hand position, arched back means backwards. A lot of times setters churn their shoulders as they face the back set. So if I were setting against all of you and I were setting out to my left side hitter, I might align myself like this. And if I'm going to set back, then likely, as soon as I come a little off the net, it's very hard for most setters to resist the temptation to do this. As soon as I turn my numbers, my back number, more toward you, just like a hitter, if I make my front number disappear from you, that's a cue that I'm going to hit harder because I rotated back farther in an effort to get power on my attack. So the height of the hands, as I said, the shape of the back. Some setters, when they jump set, they do certain things. Some setters kick their feet wide apart in an effort to sell the quick, and so they will kick their feet wide apart when they're going to get up in the air and then set outside. Others actually kick their feet apart. I think I was a setter at UCLA in our 6-2, 5-1, 6-2 offense and 5-1 defense, and somebody wrote our coach Al Skates. He said, "How come Karch, because I sat when I was in the back row and hit while I was in the front row," and he had written our coach to say, you know, every time Karch kicks his legs apart, he back sets. So Al said, well, thanks for the info. Hopefully you don't share it with anybody. Luckily, apparently nobody knew, and I didn't know either, but I was clearly giving away. Every setter has, we have it in our scouting report, they're tells, but those are a couple of the critical things to look at. Question here.
Do you watch your own team try to disguise
How much do we watch our own team to disguise, I guess, our own hinky, maybe? We haven't gotten to that level much yet. We're just worried about getting the other team's hinky. I think we're working on mixing in more of a variety of shots, but our offense has been doing a tremendous job, and our side-out numbers keep growing by the year to where we're in pretty good shape. Now, probably the bigger concern for us as our offense is making nice progress is slowing down a couple of key hitters who had some success against us in the World Cup, and so the focus is a little more on reading where they're going to hit and when they're hitting hard versus when they're not hitting hard. Because we do not use something you saw USC using the other night. Many of you probably use it as a kind of a rotation defense where you plant somebody behind the block to get the tip. We would prefer to use that on occasion, but not consistently, because if you know there's somebody there, there are always some other open areas of the court. We would much prefer to have athletes who can play some defense and also get the tip, rather than dedicating somebody there and losing some of the hard hit defense. Any other questions? Yes? Any tells on direction? Well, certainly one of them would be that as I'm leaning, there are certain hitters who lean this way more to hit that way and stay more straight up when they're going to hit cross body. That is a general tendency of a lot of hitters. There are some hitters we face, for example, from Japan, who the more they face this way, if I'm hitting on the left side, the more they face this way, the more they're going to hit that way. They're a lot of wrist away. And if they face over there, it comes this way. But that's more of a hitter by hitter cue. Generally speaking, though, if I'm going to hit it down the line, I'm not going to be leaning way back. I'm going to stay more erect and hit it more in front of me. Hitters often lean to try to get around that ball and then hit it cross court. So that's the main giveaway in terms of leaning. Any other questions? Is somebody signaling? Yes, please.
You also use frequency of shot type in talking with your defenses, and/or does frequency of shot type affect the anticipation time?
I think the question was, do we use frequency of shot type and how does that affect our defense? I showed you a couple of those Chinese hitters. We were finding that they were hitting probably 1/3 of the time, not swinging hard. One of them was more tip, one of those hitters. The other was more of a roll shot. So our athletes know that, and they also know the difference between how much are they not hitting hard in system versus how much are they not hitting hard out of system. and then we play accordingly. And they have a lot of freedom to adjust based on what they see, because they are becoming better and better readers of the game. I mean, some of them were already incredible readers of the game, and others are building their level up. So we do know information like that, and adjust accordingly, and adjust starting positions accordingly. But so much of it is real time, seeing the patterns. Hopefully I see them a little sooner, and those extra 0.2 of a second give me the information I need. I only need to glean 1 or 2 cues, and then I get a huge jump on the ball, and I make a lot better plays, keep the ball in the air, and help my team score a lot more points.